Yotis, guys, as you can tell from the title, we're going to be doing a major predictions video. So I'm going to be going through this spreadsheet and trying to see how close I can get my bracket, my Swiss stage, and my playoff stage to be as close as possible to the real thing that'll happen next week. So it's going to be happening over in Denmark, Copenhagen to be exact. And I'll be there myself live at the event if you guys are there. Hopefully I'll meet some of you there. But let's start off with the matchups. I'll try to get as many as I can, right, to what they'll actually be, obviously. But these are the actual first round matchups. So starting off, we got Carmine versus Limitless. Limitless is a team from, I believe, APAC or... All right, so Limitless is actually SSA. I thought it was APAC, but it's SSA. So that means that I'm going to say, based on their lack of experience at LANs, that Carmine is going to take this pretty comfortably. I think there's very few teams going into this event that could even challenge Carmine Corp. In my opinion, I think they're going to be one of my favorites for sure. And Limitless, I think if it was APAC or SSA, I think those regions don't have a lot to learn from each other in terms of practice. Like their best practice will be international events. There's not that many international events that go on they can get good practice out of. So for at least another year or two, I don't think they're much of a threat to the top teams quite yet. I'm going to say 3-0 here for Carmine Corp. Nice and easy 3-0. I think they're going to have a pretty clean Swiss stage. But we'll see what their matchups end up being here. So BDS versus Elevate for the next matchup here. BDS, I think, takes this pretty cleanly. So Elevate is APAC, I'm pretty sure. So Elevate is not going to be taking that one, and that's more to the power of BDS there, I think, because BDS is just incredibly solid, and they're going to be one of my favorites for the event as well. Not necessarily to win, but to make it very far. G2 versus Pioneers. Pioneers is actually pretty solid. I'm going to say this is a 3-1 here. Pioneers is from OCE. They got a pretty solid roster. OCE is actually looking pretty decent. Power and Pioneers both look pretty good from what I've seen. So I'm going to actually give this matchup some hype in a second, but Vitality, Complexity here. I think, so actually going into the season, Complexity started in NA in the off season, and I thought that they were one of the strongest teams. I thought that they were one of the hardest teams to play against in NA, and I was actually pretty surprised when the whole South America issue happened and they had to go back to play in their main region. Like, to me, they're extremely talented. Those guys really understand how to play together well as a trio, and they really understand the game of threes like extremely well, more than that of many NA teams. So I would really think that Complexity would have made the major in NA if they had stayed. I think Complexity will give Vitality some challenge here. I'm gonna say this is 3-2. I'm gonna say it's a close series. They're actually a very good team. I played Vitality, I played Complexity, I played both those guys in scrims before. I think it's gonna be a close match. Gen G Power, and Gen G Power. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a 3-1 or a 3-2. Like I said, I watched a lot of Power, and I feel like they have a really good foundation, good fundamentals, and understanding of how to play threes together. I really do see this series being a lot closer than people think. I still have Gen G pretty comfortably on top in the series. I think it'll be much closer than people would expect when you look at a top EU team versus OCE team. Normally people are expecting the EU team to dominate, but I think it's going to be much closer than that. Genomates versus Rule 1. So obviously I'm on Rule 1. I'm going to try to be as little biased as possible when it comes to picking these matchups here, especially the ones Rule 1's involved in. So Genomates Rule 1. Rule 1 is a top 2 Middle Eastern team right now. I think Middle East is actually like on the come up to the point where in another 2 years they could potentially be the best region in the world. I honestly think that the players that they have, their young talent, like the talent that's coming up consistently, is getting better and better and better. And I feel like in enough time, there's going to be 5 or 6 teams there that are extremely deadly. And they honestly need way more spots. I think 2 spots is not enough for the talent they have there, but they're absolutely insane. And playing those guys, they have a different understanding of the game. Like, they have a different brain for the game and the way it works. And I feel like in another year or two, you're going to see absolute domination from them on the international stage. And you're already starting to see them make some extreme waves at these events. Like, Falcons made a grand final last year, I believe it was, or it was the year before. But either way, like, that's pretty insane for a region that's not NA or EU, considering you're playing against technically lesser competition to practice, but they're actually finding a way to go the extra mile and make a difference with what they have around them. They're actually improving like way faster than other regions, in my opinion. But Rule 1 here, I'm gonna give them this win in a 3-2, and that's actually no bias. I genuinely think they'll take this. Genomates, to me, haven't been extremely impressive. Like, I like the way they play. I understand their foundation. They have very good players, but to me, they haven't been extremely standout. I think this can go either way. This is like a flip-flop series, where like basically flip a coin and that game 5 goes either way. I'm not really sure who would take it, but I'm gonna give it to Rule 1. I'm gonna say Nupo scores some crazy corner wall double tap or something, top corner, and then just takes us home there to the next round. But I'm gonna give that 3-2 to Rule 1. Falcons OG, I'm gonna give this to Falcons. I don't think the OG roster is that strong. I'm gonna say 3-1. I think Falcons is an extremely stacked roster. Obviously, it had the twins that Rule 1 had last year, and then you know, TRK, who I still think in the history of me playing this game is one of the smartest players I've played against. I give him extreme credit for just being super talented and understanding the game at such a deep level. So I'm going to say Falcons take this 3-1. I think they'll comfortably make it out of the Swiss, but we'll get to that. We'll see what the matchups end up being. I don't know what the matchups will be. This spreadsheet calculates it all for us, but we got LG Furia. Luminosity is very bump heavy and Furia is very aerial control heavy, which makes me think they'll be harder to bump, but there's going to be somebody waiting off the ball for the control to happen. I'm going to say this is the game 5, but I'm going to give it to... It's hard, man. That's hard. I'm going to give it to Luminosity, but I'm sure Furia will make it out of Swiss. I think they'll make it out of Swiss at least. We'll see how the bracket ends up. So we got Carmine Rule 1. That's a tough second round matchup for Rule 1. I'm going to have to give it to Carmine Corp. They haven't shown me any signs that they would drop this series quite yet, especially on land. They have very good land players as well. So I'm going to give that to Carmine Corp. I already went through all these teams, but we're just going to try to run through the bracket now and see what I think. BDS Luminosity, tough matchup. I'm going to give it to BDS. BDS is going to inch out this one. I'm going to give it a game 5 as well, even though I do think this could easily be a sweep for BDS. I think it's going to be a close series. G2 Vitality. There's a second round matchup, G2 Vitality. So what needs to happen for that? If exactly my score lines happen, G2 Vitality is the second round matchup. So I'm going to give this to Vitality. I'm going to give it to Vitality. I'm going to say 3-2. Very close series. Already insane matchups up top here. I'm going to say Falcons take this over Gen G. I'm going to say Falcons take this over Gen G. I'm going to say 3-1 for the Falcons. Now, Gen G are extremely good. Both those teams are crazy good, obviously, but I just have to give it to Falcons. I think those guys are going to surprise a lot of people. Although everyone knows what they're capable of based off like raw talent, I think they're just going to surprise people in terms of how good they are. They truly are internationally. Gentlemates Limitless, I think Gentlemates takes this pretty easily. Furia Elevate, also Furia takes that pretty easily. Complexity Pioneers, I'm going to say Complexity. OG Power, I'm going to say 3-2 OG. Let's give them a win. Okay, Carmine Vitality. We got Carmine Vitality round 3. Crazy. Look at the round 3 matchup. BDS Falcons, Carmine Vitality. That's crazy. Crazy matchups. Damn. This is a really stacked major. It's crazy to look at this. I'm going to say Carmine edges this one out. 3-2. BDS loses to Falcons. 3-2. G2 beats OG pretty comfortably. I'm going to say actually it's 3-0. 3-2 here. I think it's very, very likely. Complexity, like I said, very, very much so surprised me in terms of how good they really are with this new Dorito pickup. Luminosity, Gentlemates. They both really have a really good fundamental base of a play style. They both play around each other very well. They have very set in stone rotations and how they want to play. They have a really good set in stone game plan, and they're both just very solid. None of them they're not peaky teams. They're not teams that are going to stand out as insane, but they're just going to do the little things right. I'm going to say Gentlemates wins this 3-2. 3-2. These are close games, man. Rule 1 Furia. So what do I have Rule 1? What do I have Furia losing to? Furia loses to Luminosity. I feel like Rule 1's better than Luminosity, to be honest with you. And if I have Luminosity beating Furia, then I think I have Rule 1 beating Furia here. Even though it's going to be close. I think Furia is extremely good. I think Furia are incredible. Yan is such a good player. Honestly, all those players are so good on Furia, but I'm going to have to give it to Rule 1 because I gave this to Luminosity, and I think Rule 1 would take Luminosity in a match. Probably 7 or 8 out of 10 times, Rule 1 would probably take it over both of those teams. Nupo is just... I really can't bet against Nupo, man. Watching that guy play is mind-blowing. Power, Limitless. I'm going to say Power knocks out Limitless here. That is elimination for Limitless. Pioneers Elevate. Pioneers knocks out Elevate. So OC taking the bottom matchup there over APAC and SSA. You got BDS Rule 1. I'm going to say BDS takes this 3-2. BDS looked really strong this whole European split. Vitality, Genji, do Vitality. Look at Vitality Swiss. Complexity into a G2. Who they play? Into a Carmine, into a Genji. Oh my gosh, that's a crazy Swiss based on my bracket here. That is so unlucky. But basically, Swiss is affected by the game win-loss differential, and they just happen to get unlucky here with their matchups, playing some of the best teams in the tournament. So we'll go anyway. Vitality Genji. I'm gonna say Genji edges one out. 3-2. My heart's telling me Vitality, but I just feel like Genji will take it for some reason. Yeah, I'll stick with that. G2 over Gentlemates here. I'm gonna give it all close matchups. Furia over Pioneers here, I think pretty comfortably. Luminosity over Power, I'll say. Complexity over OG. That's elimination for OG, Power, and Pioneers. And then we got Gentlemates, Complexity. That's hard. These are hard. Oh, and I had Rule 1 beating Luminosity. I was talking about earlier, I had Rule 1 beating Luminosity. Vitality, Furia. Let's say Vitality takes this. I don't think Zen's gonna let himself get eliminated without a top 8 here. I think it's very unlikely. Gentlemates, Complexity. Gentlemates actually go out here. Let's say Gentlemates go out here. All right, so we got our playoff brackets. Carmine, Rule 1. Unlucky. Unlucky first round draw there, but then again, look at the other draws. BDS, Genji, Falcons, Complexity, and G2 Vitality. I mean, there is no easy draw here. Look at Vitality's run throughout this tournament. They would have Complexity into a G2, into a Carmine, into a Genji, into a Furia, and then immediately into a G2 again, which was the second round matchup. That's just tough. I'm going to say Carmine takes this. 4-1. 4-1 for Carmine. And I'm going to say BDS, Genji. That's tough. These teams are very even in my mind. I'm going to give it to Genji. 4-3. Falcons over Complexity here. 4-3 as well. I'm going to say Zen just doesn't want to go out of the tournament. He's going to take this over G2, 4-3. And the last remaining NA team would be Genji. We got Carmine, Genji, Falcons, Vitality. All right. I think if it was G2 versus BDS, I would have G2 over BDS, personally. So G2, if they had this first round matchup versus BDS, they'd make it. I think playing Vitality or playing Zen on LAN, you know, that's going to be a different beast for sure. So I'm going to give it to Vitality. Going toward Falcons, Vitality now, I'm going to give this to Falcons, actually. I'm going to give it to Falcons. And we're moving on to Carmine, Genji. I'm going to say Carmine. Carmine take it 4-3. And the grand final of the Denmark Copenhagen Major, I have Carmine, Falcons. So that's what it ended up being based on the seeding, how it all worked out. And we're going to give it to Carmine in a heartbreaking Game 7 for Falcons, where they had the lead and they lost it. Unfortunate. They lost the lead off of like an open net miss into like a bump or something crazy. I don't know, something crazy. Give us some entertainment, you know? But that's what I have winning. I have Carmine Corp winning the Major 1. That's the bracket. Top 4 is Genji, Carmine, Vitality, Falcons. And this is the top 8. And, you know, you can just look through the rest of it. I'll show you guys the Swiss results. That's what it ended up being. So eliminated in Swiss, I had Luminosity, Furia, Gentlemates, Power, Pioneers, OG, Elevate, Limitless, and these are the top 8 teams that I had making it. Yeah, look at Vitality Swiss, man. Cole, G2, Carmine, Genji, Furia, and then immediately into a G2, into a Falcons. That's crazy how stacked this major is if you're running through the best teams. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. And let me know what your guys' major predictions are down below in the comments. Love you guys. Peace.